Oh, shoot. That did work. Okay. Well, all right then, friends. Welcome to my January Livestream Q&A. Yeah, so this is an evening when y'all can ask me any questions that come to mind about poi spinning, flow arts, or really anything else you can think of too. Yeah, so I've tried out something new this time around in that, so there's the whole super chat function for the channel, which is that lovely little button that has a $sign in the middle of it. And if you hit that, you can drop a tip to the channel. And that comes straight to me. YouTube does not keep any portion of it. And so apparently YouTube has now activated a feature where you can create a goal with that. So I set a goal of 10 super chats. We'll see how that goes tonight. I will say that I don't think I've ever had that number of super chats, but we'll see if it happens tonight. First, though, I need some viewers out there. Oh, I do have some viewers now. That's excellent. There's a delay on what I get to see on my end. So if there's people that are out there watching, please chime off in the chat. Let me know that you're there, so as I can say hello, and let me know where you're coming from too, where you're watching from. I'm always curious about these things. Also, I feel like there's way too much light behind me here, so I'm going to turn off that one. Things still seem like really hazy in my room, though. In my living room, I don't know why that is. We got Josh Reyes waving hello. Cheers from, I think that's California 650. And we've got John Allo. Hi, I'm watching from South Carolina. Carrie, hi Drex, hi from DC. Hello, Carrie. Carrie is one of my students in my live stream classes. So hello, Carrie, it's great to have you here tonight. And as it turns out, we live in the same metro area, although I don't think we've ever met each other face to face, which is funny. But as you can hear, of course, my voice is a wee bit froggy tonight. I'm getting over a cold. This is still far better than my voice sounded at the beginning of this week, so congratulations. Oh, hang on. I know why it's hazy. It's because the lens is dirty. This is gonna be really, really janky, but give me just 1 second and I will wipe off all these lenses and hopefully that will help. Oh, Camera 1, camera 2. Did that help at all? Yeah, you know, I think that did help. Cool, good job, Drex. Carrie, highly recommend Drex's live classes. Have learned a ton. Why, thank you, Carrie. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so I do these monthly Q&As, and they exist for you all to be able to jump in and be able to ask me questions about whatever you have in mind. Josh Reyes, Anthony says, woot. Joshua Reyes says, I see Catan in the background, love that game. I've got a lovely game collection back here, I would say. So the new one on the far left is Apiary, and I just got that for Christmas this year from my brother. Right next to it, you can barely see it, is another game made by the same company called Wingspan. Wingspan is very fun, but it drives me crazy because it takes longer to explain the game than it does to play it. Next to that, of course, is Catan, and then Azul, and hiding behind Azul is Codenames, and next up is Happy Little Dinosaurs, and then Saku, and then Set, Hanabi, and a deck of playing cards. So, yes, I love me some games. Oh, and there's a new collectible card game based around dinosaurs that my girlfriend got me for Christmas that is down on the shelf below. I think I'm at a position where I need to start passing off some of my games to friends, because the gaming shelf is getting to be a little packed up there. But yeah, no, I love tabletop games. I have friends here in DC. We get together once a month for a gaming night. So I tend to learn new tabletop and card games during that, and I bring in my favorites as well. So yeah, I love me I love me some games. Yeah. So yeah, this is a Q&A. Y'all have questions for me out there? Please drop them in the chat. And also, just as a reminder for those of you who popped on a little bit late, Super Chat helps out the channel. That is that little square button with the $ in it. It's basically like tipping me. The money comes straight to me. YouTube does not keep even a dime of that. It's all for me. So yeah, that's a great way to show your appreciation for me and for the channel. And also, too, for the first time, I tried setting a goal, which is to get 10 Super Chats tonight. We'll see if that actually happens. Yeah, so, and also, too, if you leave a Super Chat, so I tend to answer questions in the order that they come in, more or less. So if you want your chat, you can jump the queue with your question if you leave me a Super Chat. Oh, hooray, Carrie, thank you so much. Carrie left a Super Chat. Yay, I appreciate you so much. So very much. Oh, and you do have a question in the queue, too. That's excellent. Oh, I can like it. So I shall. I shall. Outstanding. Yeah, if you want to ask another question too, Carrie, you can, but I will answer your first question first. So, very much enjoy your YouTube performance videos. Why, thank you so much. What are you excited to be working on in the new year? Right now, and this is a really, really, really aggressive goal. Right now, I have, so I have a couple projects that I've got lined up right now. One of which is, I am a reconnecting Sami. That is, my ancestors were indigenous to the area of Northern Europe above the Arctic Circle. And I've been reconnecting with that part of my past and heritage of late. And there is a Sami holiday called Sami National Day that happens on February 6th. February 6th, is it? Yes, February 6th, every year, to celebrate the creation of the first Sami Congress, which was is like a tribal congress that brought together Sami people from Norway, Sweden, and Finland to talk about tribal matters and lobby the governments of all of those different countries for greater indigenous rights. So there's a really marvelous song that apparently won top prize at the Sami Grand Prix a couple years ago. It is a song called Duostil. I'm trying to remember the name of the artist on it. It is where are we here? The song is called Duostil, Duostil, and it is by, if I can find my playlist here, oh, I can just look it up, just by the song name, I think. Duostil. Yeah, it's a song by an artist by the name of Aili. And I am choreographing something to that song. I only have a couple of weeks to do this in and shoot a performance around it. So it's a really, really, really aggressive goal. But I believe in me. I believe I can pull this one off. So be on the lookout for that. It's also just a great pop song in general, and it showcases. So there is a traditional Sami vocal art called joik, and there's a part of the song that is performed in yoik, which is kind of a chanting. The yoik part of the song is hey, ah. It sounds very, very, very similar to the style of singing that we associate with Native Americans as well. And I actually started taking lessons on how to yoik, so I'm really excited about that, and I'm excited to perform to this song. So yeah, the other thing is that for many months now, I have been working on a video essay about my thoughts on Poi dance and specifically how we compose movement and performances. And I have written and rewritten and edited and re-edited that essay more times than I can count, and I am so hoping that I will have it out sometime in the first quarter here. So those are the two projects I have ahead of me that I'm excited for. Great question. John Allo says, where can I check out the live classes? I'm so glad you asked. So, the current class can be accessed here. Oop. Will it not let me paste it? Strange. There we go. Okay, cool. So John, that's where you can access the class. And that's the current class. We got 2 weeks left in it. Usually the way it works is that I'll teach for 4 weeks, and then we'll take a week off and then come back for another 4-week session. All of the each and every session of the classes is recorded. So if you want to join the class halfway through, that's totally fine. You can go back and watch the first 2 classes. This session has been specifically about playing around with levels and volume in Poi performance and dance. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably my favorite session that I've taught so far. I made a lot of changes to how I was teaching the class, and I think a lot of them are for the better. So I've really been enjoying it, and of course every class tops off with I will teach you a bit of Poi choreography, and we all learn and perform together, which I think is pretty incredible. So do go please check that out, John. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. Yeah. So, Carrie, thank you once again for the super chat. I appreciate you. If anybody else wants to help me reach my goal, super chat. It helps the channel, just like it says on the bottom of the screen there. Sweet. So, those are the only 2 questions I see in the queue. Anybody else have any questions out there? It looks like we've only so there's a delay on the stats as I'm watching them, and it says that there's only 5 people watching right now. So I don't know what is the actual current number, but that was the number a few minutes ago. So Carrie says she's happy to ask more questions. Please do. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Whatever you got on your mind. Carrie and anybody else, if anybody else has questions, please send them through. I can teach you tricks, I can explain concepts, I can also, like I did with Carrie, just explain things about how I approach things and anything else you have on your mind. So, bring it on. Should I start? I should start like humming the theme to Jeopardy here. Do 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 do. Oh, also, I should note that if I make my goal here and get 10, oh, it's fine, Carrie. Carrie says, sorry, it's taking me a while to type. No, take your time. Take your time. In order to set up the super chat goal for the evening, I had to basically kind of set a thing that's like, what will you do if you reach your super chat goal? So the super chat goal is, if I get 10 super chats tonight, I will flow out to the song of y'all's choosing, whatever y'all vote for out in the chat land there, because I'm rather notorious for avoiding spinning to EDM songs. So if you want to watch me spin to an EDM song, fill up those super chats and request it in the chat there. That's the way to make that happen. Anthony, also, I've been watching you since you were going to school. Since I was going to school? I started spinning. How long was it? I think I started spinning 3 or 4 years after I graduated from college. So I'm not sure what school you thought I was attending there. I always wondered if you got a degree from that school and what it was. Did you ever do anything with that degree, like get a job or do anything with it? Do anything worthwhile? Love you, by the way, keep it up. Yeah. My degree is from the University of Colorado at Boulder, the same town that I grew up in. And my degree is in, so by quirk of how they count the credits, my degree is in American history. Did I do anything, and I should also note that in my undergrad, I studied history in many different parts of the world, and also like I did some really specific history classes too. Like there was a class on the history of the mining industry in the United States, so I know way more than I should about how we mine for minerals and how mining impacted the development of the American West. I also took a really amazing class on the history of space exploration. So there's, yeah, I can also tell you a lot about, man, the most fascinating character I read about in that class was a guy named Korolev, who was a Russian writer who in the early part of the 20th century basically came up with the idea for like multi-stage rockets and space stations and things like that. And it took most of the century for technology to catch up to his ideas. And very explicitly, both the Soviet and American space programs were like built in his image. Like he's the guy who came up with all of the ideas for what eventually became the core principles of space travel. And you know, he wasn't a physicist. He wasn't. I don't think he was even a scientist. But really, really fascinating guy. Like everybody who was involved in the space race had read his stuff and was inspired by him. Really cool dude. I also took. If I'd had the option, I would have majored in Middle Eastern history. As it was, I maxed out the number of classes that the University of Colorado offered on Middle Eastern history. I also, Japanese history was another one that I took a fair number of classes in. So yeah, that's what my degree is in. I am actually a historian. I have the training for it, which really it's just training on how to do research. Yeah, well, no, that's not entirely true. It's training on how to do research and interpret the results. Because like, you know, it's one thing to find the data and it's another to draw conclusions from it. And half the job of a historian is to draw conclusions from it, for sure. So yeah, that's what my degree is in. And did I ever use it? I mean, yeah, I actually think I use it constantly. Whenever I write a video essay for my channel on the history of flow arts, it's because I'm applying all of those skills that I learned in my undergrad for creating for creating video essays on flow arts history. So yeah, I use it constantly. I will be the first to admit that I do not think I have read a great number of historians, and I continue to be I continue to be a fan of many historians out there. Stephen Ambrose, of course, was an incredible historian. Doris Kearns Goodwin, love her work. And there's a podcast that I really love. The podcast host, Mike Duncan, I don't believe he's got a degree in history, but he might as well, because he definitely, like, the way that he approaches doing research on a given topic, he's got the real world history degree there for sure. The School of Hard Knocks. Big fan of his work. The book he wrote that I read last year was Hero of Two Worlds. It was a biography of the Marquis de Lafayette, the French major general who fought with the Americans in the Revolutionary War. Fascinating figure because basically he runs away from home to go join the Revolutionary War. It's incredibly scandalous. He comes from one of the one of the wealthiest families at the time in France, and so it's a huge scandal that he runs away from home to do this, and so he feels an enormous amount of pressure to prove himself as a military commander because being a young nobleman, basically the way France was set up at the time was that he was going to get channeled into court life at Versailles, which he didn't particularly like. He wanted to be on the battlefield, and he didn't want to be a courtier. He didn't want to play the political game. He wanted to go out and fight and find glory on the battlefield, and he did in the American Revolutionary War. And then it's very strange because he goes back to France, and the French Revolution starts up, and at first he is a figure that people look to with some reverence because, you know, the French Revolution, they totally thought themselves kind of philosophical neighbors of the Americans, and Lafayette did too. But very, very quickly, as France got progressively more and more radical during the French Revolution, he very quickly found himself flanked to the left by, you know, Robespierre and Saint-Just and all of the the Jacobins, and eventually found himself in a. Long and short is that he didn't technically because he was captured in battle, but he basically fled France for the duration of the French Revolution and came to be seen as a conservative and regressive figure by many of the key figures in the French Revolution because, you know, number one, he was part of the nobility. He was, you know, from a noble family, one of the wealthiest men in France, and when push came to shove, the government that he imagined for France was a constitutional monarchy. He didn't want to get rid of the king, and again, he was just rapidly outflanked on the left by the more radical elements in the French Revolution, and eventually it cost him respect with the French public. And to this day, he doesn't have a terribly good reputation in terms of how he navigated the French Revolution. The French don't think much of him, but we Americans do. It's really fascinating. Wow, I'm going off on such an info dump here. Sorry, I'm going to pull it back together. Yes, I use my degree constantly, and as you can tell, I keep up to date on topics that interest me. My degree in American history, my focus area was on the colonial to revolutionary era up to about the election of Andrew Jackson. So until about like mid-19th century, I'm not as strong on basically like Civil War up to World War II, but the post-war period, I feel pretty solid in my knowledge on. So. If y'all have any history questions, you can always hit me up too. Thanks for sticking with me there as I went down that tangent. So yes, I use my degree frequently. Oh my goodness, yes, I missed a bunch of things in the class, in the chat here. Carrie asks, I changed the grip from forefinger and thumb to tether between my fingers due to some tendinitis. I feel like this gives me less control over the poi. Any advice for keeping the poi in place? Yeah, so that's tough. When you switch grips like that, it's really it is quite disorienting at first, without a doubt. I don't know if this is an option for you, but there is something I can suggest. So to get everybody else up to speed and switch the camera for the first time tonight. So like, for the most part, when I teach people poi, I'm teaching them using what we call the key grip. That is this grip where you're kind of pinching the tether between your thumb and the second knuckle of your index finger. And I feel like this gives you a lot of fine-tuned control over the movement of the poi. And of course, whenever you wrap the poi around your hands to shorten them, you kind of wind up in the key grip by default anyway. It also does need to be said that it takes some hand strength to do this. And I can definitely see how it would cause some tendinitis. I actually do have one of my private lesson students right now is a slightly older woman who likewise has problems maintaining tensile grip with her fingers. And she also prefers to use this grip where the poi are controlled between two fingers like so, instead of being pinched. Now, because everybody produces poi with handles these days, the kind of default way to do this is just to kind of have the tether poking out between your index finger and your middle finger and anchoring the poi handle then between those two fingers. As Carrie is saying, it does sometimes lead to less fine control. Drilling with it, practicing a lot will help you get some of that back. You're also going to wind up with calluses between your two fingers here as a result of it. And that's just kind of a given with poi anyway. You have to build up your calluses at first. So what are your options here? To be frank with you, probably your best option is to change out the type of handle. So many companies still offer an option for finger loops. Now you can anchor your fingers in the finger loops like so. You just poke them through and you wind up with, and I will say that I prefer a finger loop grip where it attaches to the second knuckle, just like if I were to use the key grip. The reason being that I can find a better degree of control then by articulating my fingers as I spin. Your mileage may vary, but I find this helpful. I find it a good compromise in terms of maintaining control while still also doing so in a place where you're not having problems with grip. There is a third option. There is a third option, and that is, and you can do this with either type of handle, but I'll demonstrate it right quick with this one. So notice how my first approach to doing this grip was to stick my index and middle fingers through the finger loops here and then have the end poking out, kind of pointing away from my knuckles. Here's another option. You can have the tether and everything kind of pointed down towards the floor and your palm pointed towards the floor and stick your pinky and ring fingers through it and go back to the key grip. Wait, I thought we were trying to avoid the key grip. Well, here's the thing. Because the tether is now anchored between these two fingers, you don't require as much tensile strength to hold onto the tether anymore. So you can have the kind of control that you're used to having with the key grip, but it doesn't take as much effort from your hand to maintain it. You can also do this same thing with a ball handle, where you can anchor it between your pinky and your ring finger, like so, and then use the traditional key grip. And once again, you should have, it won't be as snug, it won't be as secure as if you're using finger loops, but it'll also get the job done. You'll be able to use the control point of the key grip while not needing to keep a death grip on the tether and hopefully save the tendons in your hands and fingers, which I feel for you, and I know it's only a matter of time before that's coming for me too. Which, fun fact, during quarantine when I was uploading videos every single day, whenever I shoot a video and I get a take that I want to hold on to, I snap my fingers twice so that when I'm going back and editing, I can see the spike in the audio waveform where that happened, and I know to cut the video right there rather than having to watch the entire video to find out where I got the take right and where I didn't. I snap my fingers once if I blew the take, and twice if I got the take. Now the thing is, that's totally fine if I'm only shooting video once or twice a week, but when I'm doing it each and every day, I got the worst tendonitis from snapping my fingers so often. It was not a good time. But tendonitis spinning poi is probably coming my way too. Oh goodness, we have another super chat. Yay! From Dan Campbell. Thank you so much, Dan. If you have any questions for me, pretty please drop them in the chat, and Oh, you did have a question attached to it. You were doing this right. What the heck is going on? I'm giving a live stream Q&A. Nah, I don't care. Just trolling and saying hello. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. And if you think of any other questions, please let me know. I will be more than happy to jump you up in the queue there. All right, let's see what else we got here. A couple people, it appears, did enjoy my info dumps about history, about Korolev and Marquis de Lafayette, so that's good to see. That's a good skill to have, yeah. So you use it all the time, says Dizzy. Yes, I do. Dizzy's my girlfriend, everybody. Dizzy's the one who got me the collectible card game about dinosaurs that I was pointing out earlier. Hey, honey. Joshua Reyes asks, what do you think about the TikTok ban? How long do you have, my man? How long do you have? So I'm going to start this off by saying that I have been avoiding getting into the discourse that I've been seeing about this online now for several days. I've been seeing people, I've been seeing a lot of discourse going back and forth, and I've definitely been like, you know, people are having a tough time over this, and I don't know that my thoughts are going to help out a lot of people who are having a tough time with it. I will do my best to give brief thoughts here, and I know that I will not succeed, but I'll try anyway. So I have never been much of a fan of TikTok. I don't like the interface. I don't think that it is a super creator-friendly platform in general. Partially because, like, so TikTok is designed to be an incredibly user and viewer-friendly platform, and that means that a lot of control is taken away from creators and it is put in the hands of the end users. That makes a lot of things difficult for creators, not the least of which Hank Green put this really beautifully. Hank Green of Vlogbrothers, when he said that YouTube is a platform where you have to choose what you're going to watch and you have to click on it. That means that you already have a base level of engagement with anything that you watch on YouTube. And it generally means that creators on YouTube wind up having a very close relationship with their audiences, because their audiences are making a very conscious choice to come into their world. With TikTok, it's not a question of clicking on the video, it's a question of clicking off the video. you're basically just being given a fire hose of content, and your job then is to decide when you're bored and you want to move on. And so that creates an environment that I think is not really great for education or for creating the same kinds of relationships with one's audience that I'm used to on YouTube, and even Instagram for that matter. So I've never been particularly fond of TikTok as a platform. That said, I recognize that it's a platform that means a lot to quite a lot of people. I have friends who have done very, very well on the platform, and what I think TikTok has done a really incredible job of is creating a really specific kind of community. It's a community that feels strangely exclusive in some ways, in that like people really feel a kinship with other TikTok creators and collaborate with them in ways that like that they don't on other platforms, and I definitely see that. All that said, I am definitely one of those that has questions about TikTok and, by extension, ByteDance's relationship with the Chinese government. I think data is one of the most important assets to have for any entity in the 21st century. And we've got no shortage of social media companies here in the United States, but like if the government wants data from them, it has to, you know, file a warrant, and the company can contest it and they can take it to court, and this has happened. And so there are guardrails on that process. I'm not saying the guardrails have always worked as they're designed to, but there are guardrails. There are no guardrails in China. If the Chinese government wants any data whatsoever from ByteDance, they have to cough it up. We don't know if this has happened. It is something that is theoretically possible, but that, so far as I know, we don't have any official record of an incident where it happened. That doesn't mean that it hasn't, and that may come out in the future, but as of right now, we don't have a record of it. I understand the motivation behind the TikTok ban, and I don't think it's incorrect. I also have empathy for people who are on the platform and feel like they're losing a community. One of those things that I learned as a content creator many, 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 many years ago was that it was a good idea to diversify the platforms that I was on. This is why, I mean, I still consider myself a YouTube native, but I'm also on Instagram, I'm also on Threads, I'm on Twitter, and, you know, of course, I have always posted just enough content on TikTok to keep the lights on, so to speak. And so, in my mind, as soon as you're really serious about creating content, the next step is to make sure that you're engaged in that you're on the platforms that you need to be. Like it's the same thing as diversifying income sources. I don't have just one income stream. I have multiple income streams, and that's because if a calamity comes along that knocks out one of those income streams, it means that I'm not going to starve. And the same thing is true for being a content creator on social media. You have to make sure you're on multiple platforms. This is why, even though I don't like TikTok as a platform, I'm still on it. I recognize that it has its use and that there are people on it and people can discover me through it. TikTok is so very interesting to me because the cohesion with which it has created that community is such that a lot of people who are on it just do not seem to see another option for themselves as content creators of other places they can go. That TikTok is the only place where they can engage with an audience and other creators in the way that they want to. I'm not here to tell them that that's not true, but at the same time, and there are pieces of this that like I'm not quite sure of whether, you know, this is just part of TikTok culture that you know, people kind of stay there, so to speak, that they don't really experiment with other content platforms as much. Or whether, you know, the platform itself is kind of like, you know, oh, you won't find this kind of relationship anywhere else. And, you know, people have just kind of gone for it. I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is that TikTok being banned is not going to have a huge impact on the work that I create. It's going to have an impact on other creators that I know, and again, I feel empathy for them, and you know, I absolutely think that they should take time to mourn the community that they're going to be losing there. But at the same time, I hope that there's some percentage of them that decide that now's the time to diversify their platforms and seek out audiences on other platforms as well, at least if they want to keep on creating content. So we shall see. I don't feel like I need to mourn TikTok personally, but again, I'm a YouTube native, and it must be said, if YouTube were suddenly banned for whatever reason, I would certainly mourn the platform. I would be able to keep on doing what I'm doing, but I certainly have an emotional attachment to the platform. So I do have empathy for those who have an emotional connection to TikTok for sure. So yeah, I think that's about the most diplomatic way I can put my thoughts together right now. That's I take that for what it's worth. I'm also not entirely convinced that the ban is going to last. It sounds like Trump is signaling that he may reverse the ban when he comes into office, which would be really funny if like TikTok takes down the app over the weekend and then on Tuesday it's back up. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that was a bunch of thoughts on the topic. I hope something in there was useful. But yeah, good question, actually. I enjoy getting questions like that because they make me use my noggin. Martin Baltahin says, please make a diamond flowers tutorial. I've made several diamond flowers tutorials, my friend. Several of them. Let me see if I can pull one up for you here. What was the last one I did? Bum bum. I did. Yeah, I mean, I did a series of them during the pandemic, so I'll link you to the first one in that series, and maybe it'll suggest the others then too. Can I reply directly to you? That's the question. Nope. Lame. Okay. Cool. All right, so Jillian Danskin asks, what is the best way to choreograph a full song? I don't know. If you figure it out, let me know. No, I'm just kidding. Do it in 30 seconds using the Instagram audio or a different way. So I think that method has its pluses and its negatives. it's the positives are that it breaks the song up into bite-sized pieces. It makes it more manageable. The downside is that when you put the pieces back together very frequently, you find out that you have pacing issues in the full song. And sometimes you find that there are sections that are a little bit too repetitive because they were choreographed in isolation from each other. And when you put them back together, all of a sudden it's like, ah, shoot, I didn't know I repeated myself here. So I think that it's a fine tool, but be aware that you might have to re-choreograph some sections when you put them all together, but that's not the end of the world. I don't think there is one best way to choreograph a full song. I've done several different approaches to choreographing a full song, and I don't know that I believe that any one is superior to the others. I think it's whatever gets you from point A to point B. Sometimes you have a story you want to tell. Sometimes you just kind of have a movement theme you want to work through. And sometimes you just break it up into 30-second slots and see if you can choreograph a full song around that. I guess like the biggest thing I would put out there is just, in terms of choreographing a full song, ask yourself, why am I choreographing to this song specifically? What is it about this song that makes me want to write 2 or 3 minutes worth of choreography? That is going to be what's going to sustain you through the process. And it's going to be what grounds you through the process too. So good luck with that. It feels like that is an uncharacteristically short answer from me on a topic like that. Yeah. The short answer is there's no one right way. There's no one best way. But doing it in 30-second increments absolutely will work. And if you're just starting off, it's not a bad way to go about it. It'll get the job done. It'll get the job done. Carrie says, hi, Jillian. So both Jillian and Carrie are in my live stream classes. Hello to you both. Jillian says, hi, Carrie. It's lovely seeing you. Carrie says, super, thank you. Very helpful. I'm guessing you're saying that about the grip thing. Dizzy says, hey, handsome. Aw. Hello, beautiful. Martin Baltuhin says, also stalls at left and right, same directions, async. I have no idea what that means. Is there a video you can link me to that shows this in action? Because from that description, I don't have a clue what you're describing. Sorry. Delaney McLaughlin says, I recently got the LED poi with the loop handles. My first poi. I'm wondering if the shape or weight of the poi affects the look or feel of actually performing. Yes, it does. Like sphere's shape versus the teardrop. Yes, in fact, I can show you examples. Okay, so I have several different types of LEDs. And I'm going to give you a demonstration of some of the things that they're capable of. Because they're made by the same company and they have a lot of the same modes, I'm going to start you off by taking a look at, what mode do you want to do here? Cool. So I'm going to start you off with Flowmoja poi here, which are contact poi. Now, things I want you to notice about the contact poi. The thing we always focus on with contact poi, of course, is doing contact tricks, rolling the ball around on parts of your body. But contact poi, when they were first marketed, were not called contact poi. They were called pendulum poi, because the first thing that people noticed about Ronan McLaughlin's style back in the day was his use of pendulums and how cool contact poi made pendulums look. They also make stalls look really cool. Like, say, if you're going to do utistalls, like so. Because they focus all of the attention on one point in space, you can do things like, say, playing around with point isolations or stalls, where having that one point of interest in space really helps guide the eye in specific ways. I personally think that contact poi are not as effective for things like flowers and the like, because you wind up losing a lot of the performance volume. In most cases, we're meant to not pay attention to the tethers of the contact poi because they draw our attention to the tips so much. So that's why I think stalls and point isolations work really well with contact poi. Another thing they're really good for is plane breaks. The reason being that when you perform plane breaks, there's always just a little bit of, it's not always precise, you know? Sometimes you get that plane perfectly and sometimes you don't. And contact poi will hide it if you don't get the plane perfect, because again, the focus is on the poi heads. And so if you're a little bit off in your plane, it's not going to be as visible with contact poi. Now, let's take a look at pop and flow poi. So these have a rod-shaped form factor. They look very similar to programmable poi. And the first thing you're going to notice is that the very thing that the contact poi are good for, these are terrible at. Whenever I perform a point isolation, like so, I can see them jiggle around. The reason being that the weight distribution along the length of it isn't the same as it is with the contact poi, where I have all this mass down here and then tether. I have all this lighting area right here, which is solid and plastic, and then I have a more flexible tether on the end of it. So I personally think that stalls and even plane breaks don't tend to look very good with rod-shaped form factors, because they give away the game. They show more of the length of the poi, and so if your planes are off, it reads clear as day to the audience. What are they good for? Hey, it's those flowers that I said that contact poi were a less good fit for. Why? Because since so much more of the surface is lit up, we can actually see the full area of the flower as we're spinning it here. They also make spiral wraps look pretty cool. I recommend using pendulums most of the time for any transitions that you're going to do with rod form factors like this. Let me see here. Oh, they're also great for like body tracers, I think. So final option, there are actually like two companies that make LED sock poi. And LED sock poi are very interesting to me because in some respects they behave like contact poi, and in some respects they behave like the rod-shaped poi. They behave like the rod-shaped poi in that they're great for flowers. They illuminate the full area around the performer so that you're taking up that full volume with the poi. And crucially, stalls don't look bad with them. You can do your point isolations, and now because the weight is concentrated down in the head again, and there's a pretty consistent weight and flexibility going from the head to the handle, it means that we're no longer wibbly wobbly when we do our stalls out to the side here, or our point isolations, which is great. And of course, they'll do all the fun things that they won't. You can't do contact poi with them, unfortunately. But they have a lot of the same strengths as contact poi, as well as a lot of the same strengths as the rod-shaped programmable poi, for sure. I will say they do have some of the flaws of each one too. So like, for instance, just like with the rod form factor, if you do plane breaks with them and you're off by even a little, it's going to be clear as day to your audience. I actually really like practicing plane breaks with sock poi because since they give away the game on that, they tend to make me more precise when I do my plane breaks. And that then translates to even cleaner planes when I switch back to contact poi. In terms of the weaknesses that they have in common with contact poi, as you can clearly see here, the illumination doesn't always go all the way to the end of the tether, so sometimes they don't fill up as much space around you as they possibly could. The rod-shaped version definitely gives you more illumination and more coverage than these do, but these are kind of a good middle ground between the two, for sure. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I have actually thought about doing a video explaining all of these thoughts. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me make that video. Shut these off so I'm not just burning through the battery. Awesome, great question. Let's see here. We're getting near the end of the hour here. Any chance anybody else wants to leave me a super chat here? I put down a goal of 10, which I know was ambitious, but hoping we can maybe get to 5, maybe. We'll see. Yeah. So Delaney, I hope that was helpful. Jillian Danskin asks, how do you listen to the parts of the song on repeat to perfect the moves so you can choreograph the full song perfectly? Yeah, so this actually drives me crazy too, because you'll be working on a specific part of the song, you'll have to like go back and move the, and like track it to the place that you want in the song. I will say that like, you can use Instagram for that. So like pull the song up and select the part of the song that you want to choreograph to and just leave it going because it'll just automatically loop then. One thing I will say is I think it's a good idea to have 2 devices going at any given time. One that has the music going and the other one that records video of you as you're kind of workshopping your way through stuff. I cannot count the number of times where I've been working on choreographing something and I like either discard or completely forget about an idea very early on in the process. And I'll just be going back through and watching the early takes of it and just like, oh shoot, why did I leave that one by the wayside? Why didn't I take that idea further? So make sure you're documenting stuff. Oh hey, Delaney McLaughlin left me another super chat. Thank you, Delaney. You're a rock star. Let me know if you have any other questions. I will be happy to answer them. Appreciate you very much. So yeah, I'd say like, because Instagram will automatically loop stuff for you, pull up the song on Instagram, take it to the section that you want to work on, and have another camera going to record your work so that you have some reference there. That is what I would say. Martin says, the stalls, I mean, are the ones you used even in the video for reversing direction of spin when same direction. What? The stalls are the ones you used even in that video. Which video? For reversing direction of spin when same direction. Are you talking about the diamond anti-spin tutorial? Can you give me a timestamp for what you're talking about in that video? That'd be helpful. Jillian says, thank you, this is very helpful. You're so welcome. Jillian says, how do you palm up and palm down catch? Palm up and palm down catch? Do you mean just like catching the poi head? Here. So, what I think that, oh, hang on. All right, Martin, are you talking about this bunch of business right here? If so, chime off in the chat and let me know. Or are you talking about this bunch of business right here? I don't know. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. Yeah, chime off in the chat. Let me know which one of those things it is. So, Jillian, what I think you're talking about is something like, say, that, or like that, which I've been referring to as G snatches, because there's a poi spinner by the name of G who would do a thing that we called a G pop, where he would switch the position in relation to the hand by cracking the poi almost like a whip. So something he would often do is like he would do stalls up and down, boom, and switch it like so. And so in my mind, doing one of these is basically doing a G pop, but then catching it. So the way that I do this is that I open up my hand and use these 3 fingers to do the catch. So when I like stall up, I like pull it down, and I'm pinching the tether between my index finger and the edge of my hand, and that frees up my thumb and the other 3 fingers. Boom. To catch the head, like so. And that winds up being the same whether my palm is pointed up or my palm is pointed down. It's the exact same process. I'm freeing up my 3 smallest fingers and my thumb in order to make the catch happen. In the meantime, I'm anchoring the tether by kind of hooking my index finger around it and holding it tight against the top part of my hand. That is how we do that. Delaney McLaughlin says, thank you for your answer, very helpful. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that was helpful. Yay. Jillian says, thank you, this answer is so helpful. Really appreciate the answers. I even write the tricks down it comes up with so I remember what they are. Excellent. Yes, that's also a good approach. That is also a good approach for sure. So we are at 5 minutes past the hour right now, and it at least from the analytics I'm looking at, it does appear as though people are either hopping off or I'm scheduled to cross from something. So Martin, if you want to jump in right quick with clarification on that stalls question, I'll see what I can do to help you out. And if not, it might be time to wind it down. We'll see. We'll see. Do y'all want me to stay on for like 10 minutes more, just for grins? If anybody else has questions they'd like answered, I can make that happen. Jillian says, thank you. This is very helpful. I really appreciate you explaining this. Absolutely. My pleasure. Jillian asks, can we go over anti-spin flowers in our private lessons? Yes, we can. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think you're ready to start exploring anti-spin flowers for sure. Jillian is one of my private lesson students. I offer private lessons. I currently have 1 slot open that I'm trying to fill. So if you're interested in it, you can email me at drex@drexfactor.com. I have some interested parties, but as always, the devil's in the details and trying to get things scheduled. So yeah, if y'all are interested in that, that's how you could maybe snag up that slot yourself. Yeah, so how we doing out there? We want to, oh, that's weird. Oh, I see why. Gotcha. There was something in the chat I was a little curious about. But yeah, yeah, I'll tell you what, everybody. I will go to 8:15 my time. So if there's additional questions out there, please let me know. And even though the counter says that we've only got 2, we've actually got 3 of the super chats. So if there are 2 more people out there who wanna drop a super chat, let's see if we can get it to 5. Let's see if we can get it to 5. Jillian says, I think anti-spin flowers are too in-depth for the live stream. No, actually, I don't think they are at all. I can give you the basic techniques for anti-spin flowers over live stream pretty easily. It's the application of them. It is using both of your hands at the same time to create anti-spin flowers that is gonna be challenging there. That might be a bridge too far for live stream, but I can at least give you the basics of anti-spin flowers for sure. Which, if anybody wants that, let me know in the chat. We definitely have enough time to work that in. And any other questions you might have, drop them in the chat. Let me know what's going on. Bueller. I am also good to wind things down too if people out there are getting tired, which, given that it keeps telling me that I'm dropping down to like 5 viewers from 10, it seems like that might be the case. Dizzy asks, do you have any projects in the works that you're willing to talk about? Yeah, actually, so Carrie asked the same question earlier in the chat, and I'm happy to repeat it. The answer, which is that 2 projects on the horizon that I'm excited about, that I want to complete. The first one is, for those who were not here at the beginning, I'm a reconnecting Sami. That is, my ancestors were indigenous people from Finland, and I've kind of been in the process of reconnecting with that culture because my family assimilated a few generations ago. And I came across a song by a Sami singer named Aili, called Duostil, and every year on February 6th we celebrate Sami National Day, which celebrates the first time that a Sami Congress met together to work on tribal issues and lobby the governments of Norway, Sweden, and Finland for recognition of indigenous rights. And so for Sami National Day this year, I want to choreograph a piece to Duostil. And that's only a few weeks away, so it's a really aggressive goal, but I'm going to try nonetheless. We'll see. We'll see if I get there and how good the choreography is when I get there. But the other project is one that I've had sitting around on the back burner now for many, many, many months, and that is basically like an essay or a manifesto, essentially outlining my thoughts on what makes for good poi performances and choreography, what it is I look for, what it is I think makes poi choreography beautiful. I have written and rewritten this script so many times, but I want to get it out this year. I really want to get it out this year. So fingers crossed that I get there. Those are the 2 projects that I have in the hopper right now that I would like to have. I would like to have out sometime this year. So yeah, great question, hon. Great question. And Jillian says, okay, that works for me. The basics of anti-spin flowers. Cool. We'll do that, and then we'll wrap things up for the night here. All right, so anti-spin flowers. So the first thing to understand about anti-spin flowers is we're going to need to make use of something called a linear isolation. A linear isolation is just moving your hand back and forth in a straight line and having the poi kind of poke out to either side as that happens. The way I usually teach people to do this is start with the poi spinning clockwise over on your left-hand side, And you want to imagine that you're going to stall the poi down on your center line. So your hand gets yanked from your left side to your center. And then you're going to pull your hand out to your far right side. And that's going to get the poi spinning clockwise again. From here, you want to stall the poi straight up your center line, which once again is going to involve your hand coming in to the center. And you want to kind of sneak your hand underneath the poi head back over to the left, where once again you wind up spinning clockwise. So I stall in the middle, come out to the right, I stall up on the center line and go out to the left. Stall down on my center line, stall up on my center line as I go back and forth. And it's really important, I want to make sure that the direction of the poi stays consistent. It's always clockwise relative to me. So once this gets to feel pretty comfortable and you can just take your hand straight back and forth, or sorry, I skipped a step there. Once this gets to feel comfortable enough that you can get through the stalls pretty easily without any flubs or anything like that, the next step is you want to reduce the number of beats you're doing on each side of this pattern. So as the poi is coming around, I'm going to stall down, and as the poi is coming around back up, I'm going to stall up. Stall down, stall up, stall down, stall up. There's two ways you can think of this. One is that as the poi is going around, you want it to stick out in each direction at least once. So it sticks out left, down, right, up, left, down, right, up. Or you can count the number of beats in it. It's a 3-beat move. This one sometimes messes with people, so don't take it as the gospel, but think you're doing left, right, left, center, right, and back, left, center, right, 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 for points where the poi goes underneath your hand. So once you got that down, you're going to have your hand move with the poi as it goes through that center area. So when you stall the poi down, your hand moves down with it. And when you stall the poi up, your hand moves up with it. So hand and poi go down, hand and poi go up, hand and poi go down, hand and poi go up. And the result is a 4-petal anti-spin flower. That's it, right there. If you can do both of these stalls and have your hand move with the poi up and down and perform it as a 3-beat move, again thinking left, center, right, left, center, right, then guess what? You've nailed a 4-petal anti-spin flower. There is no downbeat associated with the top pedal there. So, yeah, that's a 4-petal anti-spin flower. Huzzah! Huzzah! And, oh, Ian Whalen has jumped in here. Hi, my friend. Do you know of any ribbon poi that incorporate LED? I do not, I'm afraid. I dance more than doing tricks. I'm looking for the grace and slowness. Regards, Ian. No, I'm not familiar with any LED ribbon poi, I'm afraid. I will keep an eye out though, or an ear out maybe is more likely. I swear I've seen a video of it, but I cannot recall who the manufacturer was. But yeah, I don't know of any manufacturers of LED ribbon poi off the top of my head. I am so sorry. I can't help you. I apologize. Anyway, friends, so I said I was going to hang on until 1/4 and we are here. If anybody wants to drop a last-minute super chat, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, thank you all for joining me here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Thank you all for your wonderful questions. I hope you all learned something here, and I will be back for another one of these live stream Q&As in February, so keep your eyes peeled. Almost certainly, oh bloody hell, Valentine's Day is on a Friday, isn't it? We'll see how that works out. I'm not making any promises right now. Yeah, so one of the Fridays in February, I will do another one of these live stream Q&As, so please keep your eyes out, yeah? Awesome. Thank you all so much. Please take care. Stay warm out there. And yeah, I will see you all real soon. And definitely next month for another one of these. Take care, friends. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. And yeah, have a good evening and a weekend. Jillian says, I always look forward to your live streams. Have a nice night. Thank you. Oh, and have a good Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday. Yeah. Yeah. Cool, cool. Alan Heisen TV is giving me one of these. Good. Glad to hear it. All right, friends. Yeah, I'm going to hop off now. Take care, and I will see you all soon. Peace. That's weird. Oh, there we go.